Okay, so this is Odin. We had to do a bit of a restart and lay a foundation for him before trying to ride him again. He was a little nervous. So now we've gotten to the point where I'd like to start climbing on him and see what we can get. So you can already see his ears kind of stick back and his eyes get a little stuck. He gets a little bit shut down just from having pressure on the saddle. So I'm not trying to take it any further than that. I'm respecting his boundaries. When he says I'm nervous, I'm going to stop right where I am at. And you can see he doesn't want to look to the side to take the treat. He just kind of stays frozen in place. So I had to get down to give him the treat because that's where he's more comfortable with. So here I'm going to ask him to bend his head a little bit. Good, there. And I'm going to reward him for that because he's so, he freezes so much and just stays stiff and straight. I want to encourage him to bring his head sideways and to look around at me in the saddle and see that I'm not so scary and I'm not just going to surprise him because he's kind of like he just blanks and doesn't look. So he's doing it here again where he just kind of freezes. So I'm petting him. I'm going to ask him to turn a little bit. He gives a little. And he still didn't want to take the treat, so I jumped down and then give him the treat because I want to just take that pressure off. I still really want to reward him for that effort. He did really good just looking in. See, looking away there's a little bit of white, but then he looks back in and re-engages. So I liked that, so I'm going to go ahead and try to get back on. Good, and he actually looked to the side there a little bit, and I'm going to offer him a treat on the opposite side than me. And this has been really hard for him to take treats on the other side. You can see he's really frozen. And so I'm just going to offer him the treat again. He gives me a little bit of a look, but he doesn't want to come any further than that. There, he loosens up a teeny tiny bit, but see, he gets a little nervous when his head turns too far. He sees too much of me. So I'm just petting him. I'm going to offer it again. And he really looks away that time. So I'm just petting him. I took the pressure off. Try to offer it on the side he's a little bit more comfortable on. Still doesn't want to take it, so I jump down and give him the treat. Because I really want to reward him for as much as he's trying. And I really want to try to bring him out of that frozen state. Lots of pets. This horse really, really enjoys physical touch, so that petting him is a really big reward for him. And I'm just going to really calmly try to keep trying and offering him. And I am clicking at this point, too, just to let him know that he's doing the right thing because he's been clicker trained. So I'm picking up the rope. I'm going to ask him to bend a little bit. Oh, he's doing so good. Oh, he tried so hard. He very quickly grabbed a little couple of grains from my hand there. So that was huge for him. Really big thing for him to actually turn around and accept a treat and not just be a frozen statue. Oh, and he's going to do it again. This is huge for this horse. Makes me really happy. I'm giving him lots of good scratches. He's still pretty frozen, but we're just going to slowly work our way up. See, there his ears actually moved a little bit. He flicked one forward. If you need to go back and look at that, check that out. That was really good sign because he's actually letting those ears loosen up a little bit rather than just being stuck straight back in that frozen response. Again, this horse really likes physical touch. Pet your horses, people. Don't let people tell you not to pet your horses. Pet your horses. It's very important. All right, I had to go restock up on treats, so now we're back here. There, did you see his ears loosen up a little bit there? And they came forward. He's much more comfortable about coming to get that treat. And just watch his facial expressions. See, he's nervous again there. So I just stop. I can kind of prepare myself to jump off if I need to, in case he, moves a little too much underneath me. Much better about taking treats on the opposite side. There, did you see that ear forward? That was a good sign. We want those ears to loosen up. I want that jaw to loosen up. Look at that ear starting to flick. That's what we want to see. Good. So I'm going to start standing up in the stirrup a little more now, because I want him to get used to me being in that upright position as if I'm sitting in the saddle. And you saw his head kind of went up and he went a little frozen again, but he came and took a treat, so that was really good. And he's still coming around. Well, it's really important to step to make sure you get a little higher, because now I'm going to start swinging my leg a little bit. And he was pretty okay with that. He came a little bit frozen again. So you got to really pay attention to that body language. So he got nervous there, so I went ahead and jumped down. And see, he still doesn't even want to come around right away, so that tells me that he got pretty nervous. And so I'm just going to sit here and pet him for a second. We're going to take the pressure off. I'm going to walk him forward. It's very subtle. You got to really pay attention to those signs, especially with this horse. That frozen response can be dangerous, because once they come out of it, they can react big, and it looks like, it might have come out of nowhere, but it really didn't. We have to watch those signs. So here he actually walked off with me, and I ended up jumping down about right there. Good. I like that he came over and engaged with me. We've really worked on engaging and touching as consent for me to go and get on his back. We did the same thing with the saddle, where we show him the saddle, he touches it, and then he actually will turn his side a little bit to us when he's ready for us to put the saddle on. And that idea of consent has really given this horse a lot of confidence. You see, he got nervous there. I'm just going to ask him, did you see the ear? Ear loosened up a bit. I'm going to ask him to bring that head over, and he did it. That was such a big thing for him. So I jumped down and gave him the treat on the ground to just kind of help keep boosting that confidence. He deserves some snuggles there. And this can be a slow process. This has been pretty slow for this guy. He had almost 3 weeks of groundwork with me, and then he went home for a couple of weeks to be worked with his owners. He had a little bit of a time off, and we had one lesson before this. So this is his second lesson in a couple of weeks since he had left being at my place. So see, I'm trying to ask him to come over. He's being a little resistant. He says, this side. So I'm going to just keep asking. A little bit of nervous backing. That's kind of one thing that this horse does. He'll try to back out of stuff. And he did it. So I jumped down and I gave him a treat. So I'm slowly starting to ask a little bit more of him, and be a little more consistent in how much I'm asking. Because I want to keep building on what we're working on. I don't want to get stuck in one place. I want to start challenging him a little bit within his comfort zone. He's moving a little bit, so I just kind of wait for him to stop, and then I go ahead and jump on. Even the fact that he's moving his feet in this instant and he's not totally frozen is okay with me. He's even got a foot cocked right there. So he is starting to really relax, which is nice. You can even see he's starting to drop a little bit. And I take that all as a good sign. His eyes are blinking. His head is moving. Those ears have loosened up a little bit. So those are all signs that he's relaxing and he's not just frozen. And he's got that leg cocked again. Look at that. So relaxed. I love this. And he's starting to look around more on his own to come look at me and looking for a treat. He's very reward motivated. This is just a really sweet, sweet horse. I'm asking him to go to the left a little bit just to yield that head over. You see he's got a little bit of resistance there. So I just wait. I'm not going to do anything but just be consistent and ask the same amount as I was. He gave me, actually the saddle was falling off there. I had to fix the saddle, so that's why I got down. He didn't actually give it to me, but I'm still going to reward him. Snuggles. He's so sweet. Alright, we're going to do the opposite side now. We're going to do the right side instead of the left side. I try to always practice both sides. I am not as graceful at getting on this side. And he is so tall. Good. So I always practice both sides with everything. You see, he got a little stiff here again, a little frozen, but he came out of it pretty quick. Doesn't quite want to get that treat. So see the difference between him blinking and being relaxed and him frozen is kind of, he goes into that statue, just stiff mode. So I'm just waiting. I'm actually giving him some pets right here. I'm going to ask for his head to come to the left. And he did it. There we go. And this horse was really, really stiff in his cues. He didn't really know how to give to pressure side to side and to steer at all. So getting him really soft in the halter and getting him to yield that head over and flex his head over is something that we need to practice a lot. So we make sure we have direction. He understands the direction we want him to go, and it's easy for both of us. So that's why I'm doing so much flexing with him. And also, like I said before, he was just really nervous. He would hold his head stiff and straight so that he didn't have to look at me in the saddle. And then when he did look at it, then he would be afraid of it. So that was his way of just don't look and it's not there, but then he would get scared. So I'm really encouraging him to come around and look at it and not be afraid and actually notice that I'm here and I'm not gonna get on him and hurt him or anything like that. I'm trying to make this a really positive experience for him. You can see there, he's starting to blink a little bit. When you change sides, sometimes it can be different on each side of the horse. It's a whole new eye for them. Their mind doesn't quite work like ours does, where, for example, if we see a curled up hose and someone tells us, okay, that's a hose, and the next time we see it, it's all in a straight line. We can still decipher and tell, okay, that's a hose. To the horse, that is completely different. They don't understand that object has flexibility and can become something else. So that's the same idea with both eyes. Seeing something in a different eye can be a little more of a start over for them. Sometimes not as bad as when you're completely starting over. They'll carry the idea over, but you can't expect that their horse is going to do the same thing on each side if you haven't practiced something on each side. And this is just a lot of repetition for this horse. I'm going to start sitting straight up in the saddle on this side now. Like I said, same thing on both sides. It's so important to make sure that he's going to be safe and comfortable. Because at some point, I'm going to be straight in the middle, so technically I'm going to be on both sides. He gets so relaxed when you pet on him. So important for every horse to get some physical love and affection. That's how horses, with their friends and each other, they stand close to each other, they mutually groom, they rub on each other. So that's just horse behavior. Horses bond and learn through physical touch, positive physical touch. Horses also really need breaks in between working on something. So this is a good break to see. He's even kind of trying to give me his shoulder there. That was really cute. So that was him telling me, okay, I'm ready to get in the saddle again. But giving your horse a break from what you're doing is so important. They can get burnt out pretty fast if you don't give them at least a couple of minutes to decompress and think about something else. Using positive reinforcement, I have found that you can take a lot less breaks because they are so engaged and they are really enjoying the activity. So you kind of just have to determine it by the horse's behavior at the time. And I just find it's a lot faster, both in the ways that positive reinforcement really accelerates their learning, as well as not having to take so many breaks. It accelerates the amount of time you can spend working on something before you have to take a break. Alright, so here you can see I'm starting to lift that leg up again. Now that he's relaxed a little more, we're going to start working on that. I'm breaking down each motion. So from me jumping on the ground, to standing up in the saddle, to starting to wiggle my leg, to eventually swinging my leg all the way over. I'm breaking down every little motion, every step. That way he's totally prepared for me to actually swing my leg over without any surprises. He knows exactly what's going to happen. And I want to make sure he's okay with it. That's why we're really paying attention to his boundaries and stopping and pausing when we get to that moment where he gets nervous. And we're back to just doing some flexing side to side. His left side, I guess both sides were kind of hard for him, but in the beginning, flexing to the left, even on the ground, was probably his hardest. So we'll make sure we always do both sides. Again, I'm going to start swinging my leg back, and I'm making sure that I'm touching his butt. I want him to know that my leg is there, just because it's a little bit hard for him to see past my body and my other leg because it's behind. But he can see the motion a little bit, and I'm making sure that I touch him all the way over. That way he knows exactly where my legs are and there's no surprises. There, I actually hooked my leg over the saddle a little bit, so I'm just starting to work my way further and further, one step at a time. But I've still got my body in a position where if he does spook or try to jump out from underneath me, I can easily just jump down on the ground without being thrown off or knocked over too bad. So that little walk-off right there is actually this horse is inviting me to keep participating in the activity. So that's kind of something that he's been taught, where he brings his side up to you. So that is actually an invitation that this horse has learned, and it's not just him trying to walk off. So that was actually really cool. See how much his ears are loosening up? He's looking forward. He's looking side to side. Those ears are going. He's really starting to get excited about this happening and not just, freezing up and letting it happen. He wants this to happen. See that ear forward? I'm not even asking him anything yet. And he was holding that ear forward, looking at something else, so he wasn't totally frozen, which is great. That's a really good sign for this horse, is when those ears start to move and those eyes will start to soften. There, see those ears? Look at that. He's still got one ear forward. I love that. So I'm going to start hooking my leg over the saddle again, rubbing on his butt with my leg. No surprises. Good boy. He's looking around on his own, really, really being engaged in what's going on. These are all great signs. I'm really excited at this point because I know I'm going to be able to sit on him today. Look at that. Even while me rubbing my leg over his hindquarters, he still had an ear forward. He wasn't freezing at all. He still had relaxed ears. He's got one on me, which is great because he's paying attention to me. But he's not frozen. He's not in that, freeze response. Still has that ear forward. It's a really good sign that he's happy. I'm hooking my leg over the saddle. Good. He's really flexing around softly now. Even when he thinks he's going to get the treat on the other side. Still has that ear forward. So excited about this. So he gets lots of pets and loves. So there, he got a little wiggly, so I just waited for him to stop moving. That was too much, so I pulled him back a little bit. See, now he's got his right ear forward and his left ear back. It's still really good. Look at that, both ears forward. I think that's the first time that's happened in this whole video. He's got both ears forward. Doing some acrobatic stretching maneuvers. And I gotta sit. My butt hit the saddle. Yay! I was so excited at this point. I'm pretty sure I was grinning ear to ear. I feel like I look like a monkey. I was a little off balance there, so I had to get off and feed him. He's shedding like crazy. I can't believe how fast the horses are growing in their winter coats already this year. I feel like we still have a big heat wave coming for us, so... And sit all the way. Yay! I got my foot all the way down to his side. I have not put my foot in the stirrup yet because I still want to be able to swing off real quick if I need to. But he's got ears forward. He's still super relaxed. Look at that, both ears forward. And I'm all the way on him. Such a huge difference from where we started. I'm really, really proud of this horse. He's still got those ears forward. He is so relaxed right now. And he was relaxed enough to actually itch his leg right there. So that too was a good sign of him to just loosening up. I wiggle in my saddle a little bit just to make sure he's okay with it. Yay, so happy. Yes, and a good sit. He is just super relaxed. He's actually dropped, which is a good sign when you're riding a gelding. I'll take it. Doing some flexing side to side, and he is very loose. Look at those ears. He's bending really, really softly. His face is all perked up and happy. Such a big difference from where we started. It's finally clicked for him. He's like, oh, okay, that's what we're doing. And it's fun. It's not scary. He knows I'm not going to be kicking him and wailing on his sides. I'm not jerking his face. We have set up the foundation and done the groundwork and the desensitizing and built the trust. That is so, so important. Before you get on a horse and yank and kick, they have to have that solid foundation of knowledge. That way they're ready to go when you get in the saddle and they're not afraid or just learning when you get in. And you can see he is like fully dropped now. Happy, happy horse. He gets some extra snuggles. I was just grinning ear to ear here. So happy. Now we're going to start adding some backing. If you can back your horse really, really well, you know that you have a really, really good stop. And to me, that is the most important thing, is to have a really great back and a great stop. That is one of the very first things that I teach a horse. To me, that is one of the most important foundation cues to teach an animal. And especially for my first rides, I hardly ever actually ask the horse to go forward on the first 1 or 2 rides. It really depends on the horse. But for the most part, we do a lot of backing and side to side. So I'm going to ask him to come back again. So soft, very nice. That's what we're looking for. We want easy. Easiest thing for both of us is to just give cues. If we're having to yank and kick our horse around, just think about how much work and effort that takes, and brain power and struggle for both horse and rider. If you can get your horse really soft and responding off of cues, it's so much easier for both of you. It's so much more comfortable. He's doing really good with this. And we're going to jump off. Yay. Remember, you always got to give your horse a break. Getting off completely takes the pressure away of that activity that we're doing. So we don't want to just sit on him and go, 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 go. Eventually, we need to get off and give him a reward. Take a break from that little bit of moment where we were working. I want to keep that positive experience of when I get on, I am in fact going to get off, and I'm not just going to jump on and make him work and boot him around or anything like that. So getting off and on is really, really important. Look at those forward ears. He's so happy. Just the change in this horse just makes my heart so full. He has really come a long way, and it took a lot of work to get him here. So now I'm going to start asking him to step to the side. So we're going to start adding a little bit of direction and movement. And I'm just asking for little tiny bits at a time. I just want one step at a time. I don't want anything big. I don't want anything explosive or high pressure. We're literally going to take this one step at a time. If I can control my horse's feet 1 foot at a time, I've got a lot of control, and that's a lot of safety right there. That's a big safety feature. So I'm not even using my legs. I'm just opening the rein and I'm clicking to him. So he knows that click, 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 that means go forward. Or to move his feet at least. Good. I just want his feet to go in the direction that I want him to go. It doesn't matter how far he goes. I really am just looking for that one step at a time. Because we can build off of that. We want to build those building blocks. Lay the foundation. Start small and then work your way up. And that's how you really build true confidence in a horse. And that was a really good step to the side. we're just going to sit for a second. Just a minute. And back to it. Look at that. Such a nice step. Really loosening up. That was just great. Another great step. Look at that. So relaxed. He actually got himself a little off balance there because he's so relaxed. Excellent step. He's really understanding. He's really engaged and he's with it, participating in the game. This horse is so much safer than when we started. And that's it for today. I was really proud of him. We worked for an hour. This was a really good place to stop. So thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed.